morning. Happy Monday, May 15th. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day yesterday and you treated your mother very, very nice and the mother of your children just as well. Anyway, what's going on? Well, did you see last week the Blackhawks won the lottery draft and they get to draft Connor Bedard, a phenom that most experts say should be drafted. The other thing is, you see Congressman George Santos. Oh, he's in a lot of trouble. Apparently, he was collecting unemployment during the pandemic while he was working a $120,000 a year job. And lastly, the unemployment figures, that's at 3.4%, 250,000 people in April found jobs, and that's the lowest unemployment rate, I understand, since 1969, the year of the great disappointment if you're a Chicago Cubs fan, and you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's get to today's topic.
Echo. In the United States, how many people are homeless?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the most recent national estimate of homelessness in the United States is 553,742 people experiencing homelessness.
Wow, so over 500,000 people a year are homeless. You know, it's that time of year again. It's the season where people start to relocate. They start to find new places to live for whatever reason. And did you know that about 13% of Americans relocate every year? That's about 1 out of every 7.5 individuals. So let's talk about renter's insurance, because that's an easy way to relocate from one apartment to another apartment. And you know, moving from one apartment to another is always stress involved. I guess these stresses are kind of universal. There's the figuring out of utilities, your phone, the cleaning of the old place, moving into a new place, making sure that that place is cleaned, you know, getting your stuff packed and unpacked, settling in. And most people forget about something very important when they're renters: renter's insurance. What? That's right, renter's insurance. Most renters don't believe that they have something to protect, and they actually do. Let's take a quick look at what a renter's insurance policy looks like. Coverage C is personal property. How much personal property is enough? I don't know, that depends on yourself. Here's a good rule of thumb that I use. If you have a one bedroom, $25,000, and for every bedroom afterwards, add another $10,000. Now, you're not talking about a tremendous premium. My daughter got renter's insurance for, I think she told me, about $120 a year. That's not bad, is it? So, like I said, coverage C is personal property. Coverage D is loss of use. What does it mean, loss of use? Well, what happens if you have to move out of your apartment because something happened in the apartment that requires you to vacate? Loss of use pays the additional expenses for you to take a temporary lodging for a short period of time here. No more than typically a year, it'll cover it. But you know, to have to pay your rent and then have to pay maybe a hotel, that can add up. So that's what coverage D is for. Coverage E is liability insurance. Whoa, liability insurance, yes. Most policies come with $100,000. You can up it to $300,000 to $500,000. And trust me, like I said in last week's video on car insurance, or actually 2 weeks ago, if you're being sued, you never have enough. So the extra $5 or $10 a year it takes to add up to the maximum limits on a renter's policy may be very much well worth it if you find yourself involved in a lawsuit. And there's also medical coverage. Medical coverage is not if you have a sore throat or cold, not if you clutch your chest and you have to go in for heart workup. That's not what medical insurance is for. It's when somebody comes to visit you at your location and they find themselves injured at your location. Oh, come on, how is somebody gonna get hurt in my apartment? You know what, here's an actual true story. A number of years ago, a young couple went to church. They came home with another young couple, and the two women were working in the kitchen. A little bit of water spilled, a drop or two on the floor, and the guest actually still had on her high heels, and her heel hit that water spot. She slipped and hit her head on the stove knob, split her head open, had to take her to the ER to get her head sewn up. That's a true story. So that's a good reason why there's medical insurance to be added onto a policy. You know, usually $5,000, $10,000 is what most people will purchase. Next thing to consider about a renter's insurance policy is the deductible. Usually deductibles are $500 to $1,000. Okay, Mark, I get it. Where do I sign? You know what? A good place to go is call me at the bottom of the screen here, or call your insurance company for your homeowner's insurance. Because guess what? That could give you a little bit of a discount on your renter's policy and your homeowner's insurance if you use the same insurance company. So last week, what happened at the MLD agency? Well, we were able to help out one person get his health insurance and his dental insurance, another one to transition into Medicare. We also actually picked up a license in the state of Tennessee. So that's what's going on at the MLD agency. Once again, don't hesitate to give us a call where we'll take a look at what's in your best interest, especially if you're a renter going from point A to point B. And remember, your landlord may require that you have renter's insurance. If that's the case, they'll ask for a certificate of coverage, and we'll provide that to your landlord if that's the situation. Here is a message from one of our clients.
We are AG Foundry, an AI-based recruiting and staffing agency. We know technology. We know people. We're a high-tech recruiting agency. We're a staffing agency. We're a consulting agency. We're the next step to finding your next hire. We're all of these and more. Call or email us today and we'll send you candidates for your open position in less than 48 hours.
So if you need to hire someone, call 312-620-8057. So until next week, take care.